Hello, everyone. I'm going to show you what's happening in the sky between June 11th and June 15th. There are a number of interesting features. And if you look around in the world, it's really, really fascinating what is happening. I'm not going to enumerate the facts because I'm just going to tell you that it is crazy out there. And the fact what is Okay. When you look at the United States, it is like something coming from the Dark Ages or something coming from the deep south of Africa. Even those countries are more democratic than what's happening in the United States. It's really ridiculous. So is the United Europe, which is not yet united, but they are trying to do everything in their power. It's funny how the European Parliament is trying to act like a true governing body, whereas they are just a bunch of crazy people a bunch of politicians who are no longer needed in their own countries, who are simply too stupid or too dangerous to stay in their own country, and they are very, very well paid, and they think they can act like a true governing body. The European Parliament wasn't even called a parliament in the early ages of the European Union. They were a bunch of talking heads, like, okay, let's talk about this, let's talk about that, let's discuss this, but they didn't have any power. Now they are vindicating power, and they are trying to wield power from the nation states, and they are quite successful sometimes. That's the rub, but the fact remains that they should not meddle in the issue of nation states, because they don't have the power for that. Okay, so here's the energy. The title of this video is the energy patterns on June 11th and 15th. And on June 11th at 11:46 a.m., which is 10:46 a.m. London, Pluto is retrograding back into Capricorn. Now, for quite a while, we were hoping, and in a way it did happen, but not as we really hoped. We were hoping that Pluto is going to transform rigid power structures in the world. And I was hoping truly that this is going to be the demise of the deep state, the demise of the background power. But it didn't happen. What happened instead, we are forced to reconsider truths that were truths for millions of years, like biological gender, like the fact that carbohydrates are good for the planet, because that's what plants are eating from the air, and all sorts of stupid other things that we are forced to believe in, and if we don't, then the woke mob is tearing us apart. So that's what happened while Pluto was in Capricorn. And what will happen when it's going to stay for good in Aquarius, I don't know. But if you look back history, that happened 250 years ago. It wasn't a nice period at all. It wasn't a nice period. It was very chaotic. It was full of revolutions. It was full of bloodshed. And if this is what's coming when Pluto is in Aquarius, brace yourself. Anyhow, now at the moment, Pluto is back in Capricorn. These, I didn't have the time to make the drawings for London this time, so I'm just going to concentrate not on the main chart points, but what is generally important. As you can see, Pluto is at 29 degrees, 59 minutes and 59 seconds, of course. At that particular moment in time, the moon is in Pisces, exactly conjunct Neptune, which simply means that you should really use all your esoteric knowledge and all your abilities, let's put it this way, your occult, your esoteric abilities, your insight. You should sharpen your insight to understand what's happening. The North Node is still conjunct Jupiter, so you can still enthusiastically accept your destiny choices, which in this moment in time are linked to Taurus, security needs, creating harmony, creating security, creating love around you, and well-being. There's this big traffic jam in Taurus. As you can see, Mercury is conjunct Sedna, which is at the very, very end of Taurus, about to move into Gemini. So you can understand what needs to be dissected and rearranged for a workable, usable unit. My voice is going anyhow. And then the Uranus Astraea conjunction, which is change in order to break old embedded karma, to change your destiny. That's still there. And Vesta is kind of in the middle, so it's kind of midpoint structure as well. And then the Sun is coming up to a conjunction with Juno, the wife, the first lady. The Pallas Athena Black Moon Lilith is still very tied to very strong women. Pallas Athena is the wise girl, the single woman, and Black Moon Lilith is the returning goddess who is going back to the Garden of Eden, and she's teaching Eve about things. And then Mars is in an applying conjunction to them. In a couple of days, it will be reaching it. Okay, so those are the main features for June 11th. 2 days later, in the small hours, actually it's at 6:55 a.m. Budapest, which is 5:55 a.m. London. There is a very tight, to the minute, to the second, tight Pluto Sedna anaretic Earth Trine. Actually, this Earth Trine starts working the moment when Pluto is retrograding back to Capricorn. So Sedna Pluto trines are quite rare, and I have a video on this when it first occurred a couple of months ago. I think it was in March. Anyhow, this is one of the main features, main karmic astrological features of this year and next year as well. Pluto is the big transformer. It denotes power and transformation at the same time. By Sedna means creation through dissection. And this particular trine in Earth signs are helping us to create a completely new order for us. And I'm not talking about the new world order as it was defined in the World Economic Forum, which is Bull. Anyhow, in that particular moment, and again, this is for Budapest, so I'm not going to look at the angles. Only the conjunctions and midpoint structures. As you can see, the Sun is again much closer to Juno in like 3 days. By the lunation, it will be tight. Mars is coming up to an even tighter conjunction with Pallas Athena and Lilith, and the Moon moved into Aries, and it is at the midpoint of Chiron and Aries. And Aries is drastically altered outward circumstances, and Chiron in Aries describes all kinds of karmic wounds related to fight, wars, aggression, violence, blood, and this is exactly what's happening. The Ukrainians are trying to get back their lost properties like the Crimea, and there's a huge, horrible bloodshed. And I'm listening to the news, and the White House secretary says that yes, Ukrainians are going to have huge losses. Really? Okay, why don't you go there to fight yourself? You're fighting a proxy war on foreign land with foreign blood. And this is something that the Americans are so good at. And I'm really, my heart is breaking every time I'm watching the news. So I really stopped doing this. So the trine occurs in Taurus and Capricorn at 29 degrees, 58 minutes and 9 seconds. And at this particular moment, you still have the Uranus Astraea conjunction. So there is potential to change whatever you need to break old embedded karma. And as you can see, Mercury moved already into Gemini, its own sign. So it's quite wise and knowledgeable in this sign. And here, 2 days later, in the evening, which that's the tightest. Okay, so this Earth Grand Trine is there, so to speak, already 2 days earlier, but I wanted to select you the very, very tightest. You will see that Ceres is still at 28 something. I'm going to show you the exact numbers, but at 1745 Budapest and 1645 London on the 15th, you have a very tight Earth Grand Trine, which is anaretic, of course, because it is at the very end of the signs. And as you can see, the moon moved into Taurus, highlighting and illuminating the traffic jam in Taurus. And I selected this particular moment simply because 1 minute later, on the 15th, at 1746 Budapest time, 1646 London time, tadam, Sedna is at, I made a mistake, fuck it. Hold on. Nem, megpróbálom.